Thanks for taking the time to meet with us today. To get us started, will you tell me a little bit about yourself, the firm you work for, and any background information on you guys you think we should know?
Yeah. So I am the director of operations and a partner at Tandem CPAs in Louisville, Colorado. We are a small tax accounting firm. We have about 15 employees. I have been with the firm for 2 years, and this is career number 4 for me. So I have shifted from a couple of different industries into the tax accounting field. And while I am not an accountant and I don't prepare tax returns, I am really enjoying my role, sort of overseeing the operations of the firm.
All the ins and outs and the
And all,
process queen.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your day-to-day role. Like, what does the day-to-day look like for Jen at Tandem CPAs?
I do everything from pay the bills and make sure that the lights are on to technical support, IT support, and then supporting the projects and the process of completing a tax return as well. I have 2 employees on my administrative team. They primarily work at sort of the bookends of processing a tax project, setting the project up in the beginning, handing it off to the CPAs, and then finishing it up and making sure the client has copies of their return in the end. So I oversee those 2 bookends of the process in addition to just the operations role for the business.
So tell us a little bit about what system and processes you guys were using prior to Firm 360.
Mhm. When I came on board 2 years ago, the team that was here prior to my entry had already identified that office tools, our practice management software, might not be a good fit for the firm. So they had already initiated and were probably 5/6 of the way through making a decision to go to a different tool. So the team had chosen Taxstone, and I came in the summer, and I was told that by the end of the year we would be implementing Taxstone and rolling that out for the new year. When it came to about October, November, we had had enough challenges at the firm. It became clear that we were going to take a pause and not implement till the following summer instead of trying to do a January implementation. And as we turned the calendar, we became aware of Firm360, and it piqued our interest. And we began comparing Taxstone to Firm360. And by the time summer did roll around, I reassembled that same team who had made the decision, and I said, here are the pros and cons, and I wonder if we shouldn't consider Firm360, and everyone was on board right away.
Awesome. Well, we're so glad you found us.
Thank you.
So, what challenges were you guys experiencing that led to the switch? What were some main pain points for you guys when you were looking?
Yeah, the primary challenge previously identified was client experience. The portal was clunky for them, and it was difficult for them to access and manage their own documents. And so that was the primary driver. There was a lack of flexibility with Office tools. Coming from outside of the industry and my first exposure, I found it very, if you will, analog. I found it very, very simple in its visual presentation and very, very frustrating in that um, you couldn't change the font size on the screen. You were just defaulted to that size. You couldn't advance to other places in the software without completing certain steps and checking things off, and we didn't have the ability to manage that. So those were the primary things, like lack of flexibility and client experience, that were driving um, the need to change.
What were your top priorities or must haves when you were looking for a new solution?
Must haves were the client experience. We wanted a smooth client experience where they could have a variety of easy tools to upload documents and download documents. So being able to take photos of their documents, being able to download them quickly and individually, being able to message us through the portal seamlessly and along with documents. Those were all things we were looking for.
But just tell us about the onboarding experience and how it was.
Yeah. I have, in my longer career experience, onboarded a number of different softwares. And our onboarding with Firm360 was great in that they taught us how to set up the tool for our best experience. The questions that I was asking were answered at the point in time when I needed the answer, and not before and not after.
Awesome. So, what was the team's reaction to adopting Firm360 and making that change? I know it can be challenging, change is hard, but how did your team respond and what do they think of it now?
So change is always hard. And being involved in the setup was really critical. I think in hindsight, if I had gotten more of the team involved in the setup, they would have had buy-in much faster. As it was, we had to do a little bit of doubling back to teach them how it's set up in order to get that full buy-in. If I were to do it again, I think I would have gotten buy-in much faster had I involved them more in the building in the first place.
How has your workflow or day-to-day for you personally and for the firm as a whole improved since using Firm360?
For me personally, I have a better sort of global picture of where everyone's workload is. I can see at a glance and in detail in certain areas how folks are doing, right? Where are they spending their time? I think individually, the amount of time an account manager is spending managing their projects varies from person to person. It varies based on how efficient and effective they are in Firm360. I see some of our team members who are just soaring, and I think it's probably equivalent or faster than what they were able to just project manage before. And I see others who change has been harder for. And so they are a little bit slower. And we've made improvements based on watching that, where I wasn't necessarily able to watch that before.
Awesome. So, kind of shifting our thinking from employees, has your clients' experience improved? And if so, how?
Our clients report that they love the portal. In fact, I believe in a year, what are we at, a year and a couple of months now? We have had literally one complaint about the portal.
That's
And
awesome.
for me, when I hear that, I take it with a grain of salt. Like, I think there are clients who are always going to have challenges with technology, but overall, I hear such good things about the portal. We had previously, we didn't have a great return rate on our engagement letters. This year, we had, I would say, 98% of our engagement letters were returned, and they were returned quickly. Like, we weren't having to chase them at the end of the year. So the fact that that's in place is a win in and of itself. The fact that we had clients able to take a snap of picture really quickly. I got this tax notice, and within 2-3 minutes, we're addressing it and we're moving on with it. They don't need to drop it off. They don't need to find a fax machine. All of that.
Is Firm360 helping support your growth?
Absolutely, it's helping us see clearly where the bottlenecks are in our process, and that helps identify where the skill sets are that need to grow. So whether we need to grow by a full FTE, by another human being, or whether we need to grow in skill set is two different things. And so I think it's revealing to us where the bottlenecks are, which helps develop skill sets.
What surprised you the most about Firm360?
I think the thing I was most pleasantly surprised to see with Firm360 is the ongoing improvement, is the responsiveness to, hey, I noticed this isn't working well. And all of a sudden the team is in there, and a couple of weeks later, you're seeing the improvement. You're seeing the implementation of something you recommended. Like, that has been a really nice experience. The proximity to the support team has been a really nice experience.
What would you say to a peer who is considering Firm360?
I would say if you're considering Firm360, make sure that you do your homework and compare it to all the other opportunities you have out there. And when you start your implementation, start it as a team. Make sure everyone is involved in that, in the understanding of the setup, because you're going to be able to go farther faster if everyone is seeing sort of what's behind the curtain, so that when you set up your templates and your process, you can be the most effective.